So this is a story of Hugh Lane, PhD. It is a story of 1983 of a place in Hawaii. There was a psychiatric ward in the state prison, and where there were more than 30 mentally ill prisoners were being held. And there was a shortage of prison staff for good reason. And as the institution and the work there were both frequently described as hellish, and hence the hiring and then retention of staff was a major problem, and many would quit as soon as they realized how challenging this place was. So this Hugh Len proved to be an exception, and he consented to join team providing he could use a healing method that he had just discovered, and then he would only read the prisoner's medical history, and so he would not speak to any inmate himself. So what did his Hugh Len do? So over the 4 years, he read the prisoner's report several times a day and asking himself what darkness, what negativity, and what violence is within me, that something like this exists in this world. So what part have I played in my brother in spirit having committed his crime? Whenever he found some aspect of this within himself, in his heart, such as violence, aggression, hatred, revenge, envy, jealousy, in other words, the whole gamut of depth to which human nature can sink, he conducted a Ho'oponopono in the Hawaiian tradition and summed it up within the following: I am sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And if he read a prisoner's notes that they had robbed a store, for example, Hugh Lane would ask himself if he too had even stolen or appropriated uh, something in the broadest sense. Had he taken something from himself, from other people, or from the nature? So he also thought long and hard about what circumstances might cause him to raid a store or steal something, and conducted a Ho'oponopono for every instance that occurred to him. So in this way, he worked exclusively on cleansing his heart and his consciousness for months. And after he had been carrying out Ho'oponopono for a year and a half, the mood and the atmosphere in the prison hospital changed. And after 18 months, no prisoner was wearing handcuff. The sickness rate among the prison staff and wardens and therapists had reduced, and they even began to enjoy coming to work. At this point, it became possible to conduct therapeutic consultations with the prisoners, and after 4 years, all but two of the inmates had been cured, and the facility was then closed. And did Hugh Lane heal anyone? Those involved would definitely say so, but he stated in the interview that he had worked only on cleansing himself and expunging data from his subconscious. He did not mention healing once, instead emphasizing that resolution of the particular conflict had succeeded because he had taken full responsibility for the presence of the prisoners in his life. And in Ho'oponopono, we step outside our habitual role of perpetrator or victim and ask ourselves, what is there within me that has helped to create this situation? We take on responsibility as it were a problem that crops up in our lives. I always have some share or part in a negative situation, otherwise, it would not be in my life. In the West, responsibility is often and mistakenly equated with a confession of guilt, but responsibility is simply the answer to saying to oneself in relation to one's own life, here is an issue. What do I make of it? Understand now that you are no longer the victim of a situation, but instead have the ability and power to solve your problems and steer your life in a new and positive direction. and the cause of all our problem lies within us, as does the power to solve them. And I would now like to invite you to take part of the simplified Ho'oponopono with this book and making use of the 4 sentences of peace as I call them. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you.